Now, you know, just because you're busy doesn't mean you got to be stressed. I'm crazy busy right there with you, but it can be easier. Next time you're on a run, just make it more fun and listen to The Run with Manny Wilson. It's The Run with Manny Wilson podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. What's the deal? Turn my headphones up. All right, before we get too far in the episode, you know, I like to hit you off with a little bit of news. So news that we have for today of April 18th. We're going to go ahead and kick it off with the number 2 recruit in the class of 2022, Emoni Bates, has entered the transfer portal from the University of Memphis. It's said to be motivated by University of Memphis head coach Penny Hardaway being charged with multiple level 1 and level 2 infractions. The University of Memphis was accused of preventing an investigation and showing a lack of institutional control. That's going to be a great topic for you to discuss in the group chats with your boys at the barbershop, anything, whatever the case may be. But the Los Angeles Lakers have officially fired head coach Frank Vogel. After 3 seasons with the Lakers and winning 1 NBA championship, the Lakers have fired Frank Vogel. Prospects to fill the Lakers head coach position range from Doc Rivers, the current 76ers head coach, Quinn Snyder, the current Utah Jazz coach, Juwan Howard, he's the current coach of the University of Michigan basketball, Nick Nurse, the current coach of the Toronto Raptors. And the NBA playoffs are here, so let's give a quick rundown of everything that happened the other night. So the Phoenix Suns, they beat down on the New Orleans Pelicans 110-119. The Milwaukee Bucks finished with complete control over the Chicago Bulls 93-87. The Boston Celtics beat the Brooklyn Nets off a game winner. In the Miami Heat, they defeated the Atlanta Hawks. They gave them the business, beating them 115-91. All right, so I know some of y'all may work the day shift, some of y'all may work the night shift. But when you do both, you kind of figure that, you know, it's ups and downs to both, right? You know, there's some benefits to the night shift that the day shift just don't have. And there's some benefits to the night shift that the day shift just don't have. However, you know, when you work the night shift, you know, you get your rest in the day, you get up, you drive to work, you already at work, and then you good. You take care of your business. You do what you got to do. The Boston Celtics came in game 1 like they was working the night shift. They did their thing. They got to work and they did what needed to be done and they left. Now, this was a great game to start off. So before we get too into it, we got to just acknowledge how great of a game this was for game 1 of a series. It's clear that this series is going to be a great series and it can be either way. But there's 2 sides of this series because both teams are good. But the Celtics, starting with them, they're no longer the young puppies in the game no more. They are grown adults. They're old enough to work the night shift at this point. They don't care about what you've done. They don't care about the superstars that a team may have. They don't care, and it shows whenever they play on the court. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're at that pivotal point where they're ready to kill, and they're trying to satisfy their hunger. They played against LeBron. They played against KD. They played against Giannis, and they lost. So they got a little more experience of what it may take. But at this time, they're ready to win. They're entering their prime. They're trying to show, they've already shown everybody that how skillful they can be. They want to show people they are ready to win and they are elite competitors in the Eastern Conference. And with the Boston Celtics, they never lost their main core that they have since Kyrie Irving was traded. They still have Al Horford. They still have Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. That's what makes them so much of a great team because they've been playing with each other for such a for an extended amount of time. I believe it's like 4 or 5 years now. They've been playing with each other for some time now. So these guys, they're well equipped to beat any team. In the game they won in game 1, they had 4 people with 20 or more points that game. They came out, the energy level was absolutely insane. Had Brooklyn turning the ball over left and right. Like it was Christmas Day or something. The defensive intensity was crazy throughout the game. But just like any day at work, they had the ups and downs. People keep talking about, okay, well, Brooklyn has so many turnovers. Boston finished the game with one less turnover than Brooklyn. Brooklyn also came back from a 15-point lead. So let's talk about that. Let's question it a little bit, because clearly the Celtics, they won a game, but as we see, this could have went either way. It just so happened the Boston Celtics came down with the last shot. Now, some of the things they need to do in order to win game 2 and so on, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But as far as the Brooklyn Nets, they're not going to have too many games like this. We're not going to see Kevin Durant shooting 4 for 24 too many times in this postseason. And credit to the Celtics because of the way they set the tone and they set their defensive intensity. But I highly doubt we're going to see too many 4 for 24 games coming for Kevin Durant. And even if we do, we see they still almost won the game because of their other co-star, Kyrie Irving. They did what they tried. They did what they could. They tried to slow him down. They doubled him, trapped him, brought pressure. He's just a great player. It's only so much you can do to slow down a great player. However, when Celtics took their foot off the gas, that's when the Brooklyn Nets came full throttle. And they can't do that. They cannot, at this point, coming into game 2 and the rest of the games of the series, if Brooklyn still had a fighting chance after the way the Celtics started the game and set the tone and created so many turnovers, that says something. That says, okay, not only is this team good defensively, but that shows how good the Brooklyn Nets are as well. You got to think about both sides of that. Because if KD was hitting shots, that's a completely different ball game. A completely different ball game. They got out-rebounded. That was something that was a fair advantage, and that was a good, I put that on the coaching. That was a great lineup that they did. They took advantage of the size, and they killed Brooklyn Nets on the boards. But ultimately, the consistency, they have to continue to keep that energy and continue to try and make those players struggle. But it's going to be tough. I will say it's definitely going to be tough coming in for the rest of these games, just because you're almost going to have to pick your poison between Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Because if they both have a good game, as we see, it's going to be different. It's definitely going to be different. And if you really want to play that game, you can flip it. If you give the Brooklyn Nets that last possession to score, or if there was time on the clock, we may be having a whole different conversation here. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's clear that both of these teams are evenly matched. A lot of times people go with the star dominant team. But the Celtics, they have just as much with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Both of them, I believe they can be underrated at times, but they're coming, and they're proving to everybody that they're no longer puppies in this league. They're going at it. All right, now let's go ahead and run back to some playoff action throughout the league, because there were other good games. There were other good games that we missed this weekend we didn't get to touch on. So let's go ahead and touch on it. So Saturday, the 76ers, they babied the Toronto Raptors in game 1. They beat them 131-111. The Golden State Warriors had the Denver Nuggets cooked as they ate good against the Nuggets at 123-107. Utah Jazz, they finished on top of the Dallas Mavericks 99-93. Minnesota Timberwolves, they absolutely manhandled the Memphis Grizzlies and put them to sleep as they won 130-117. Now, aside from the games last night, Saturday had a lot of great games, and particularly the Memphis Grizzlies and the Timberwolves. The Wolves, they really did manhandle the Grizzlies, and I don't say that in a joking way. It was just evident. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, they combined for a total of 65 points. Cat had 29 and 13 rebounds, and Anthony Edwards, he had 36 points. They were doing their thing. But prior to the start of the NBA playoffs, I was a little wary against the Timberwolves, and I take full responsibility. I overlooked them. And another reason I did not kind of like this team is because of the way they celebrated the playoff win, or the play-in win game. Come on now, standing on the scores table, crying in the tears, throwing your jerseys to fans. Only thing missing was the confetti. And I did not like that. I understand they didn't get to the playoffs in the last 18 years, but it just wasn't ordinary to celebrate the first step to getting to the playoffs as if they won a championship. So that threw me off. Now, however, you can break it down to points. You can break it down to shot percentages, rebounds, turnovers, whatever you like. But truthfully, if you watched, it was just evident. The Grizzlies just got punched in the mouth. And they stole game one and they shifted the momentum. It was a true reality check. The Wolves proved they can win if you let them beat you. They proved you have to come with it anytime you're going to play against them. And I'm a little late to this. I'll be 100% honest. I have no shame in my game. I'm a little late to recognizing this. I watched them a little bit in the regular season, but not as much as the other star-dominant teams. That's just the truth about it. Say what you want, but you ain't watching every game, especially certain teams that's not 10th seed and stuff. But the Wolves, they predominantly had control throughout the game against the Memphis Grizzlies. Everybody think, okay, Grizzlies was top 3. They dogs, man. They've been having the blast all through the season, but them boys was out there getting bullied. The Wolves came with intense energy, and they proved to them, y'all, we don't give a damn what seed y'all are. Either way, you're going to have to play us and actually beat us. Now Memphis, they shot. It wasn't like they shot horrifically or anything. They shot, pretty typical, but they didn't turn the ball over tremendously. They shot 5% less than the Wolves. The play was pretty evenly matched. When you look at the ball game through a quarter-to-quarter basis, a run-to-run basis, the game was evenly matched. Memphis just came out lax, and they thought it was sweet, and they ended up getting that reality check. It was just that simple. Everything about the Wolves screams underrated and overlooked, and it shows. They showed them all that regular season stuff. None of that even mattered. But look at the things they were saying about the Timberwolves in the regular season. Oh, well, D'Lo, he was washed. He left the Lakers. He ain't really, he ain't had no skill on them no more. Karl Anthony Towns, he's soft. Jimmy Butler punked him. They saw Pat Bev. Oh, he don't even really play defense. He trash. This whole team has been doubted, or the core of this team, I should say, the main core of this team has been doubted from year after year after year, and now they're together. And if this, I'm not gonna sit here and be no big conspiracy theorist of thinking the Wolves are actually gonna win, but there's some people out there, and they've showed me that they have the potential to do so. They showed me that they can actually do so if teams are not gonna step up and play them. But ultimately, the Grizzlies, they gotta come out and adjust game 2. I will say that. This is only game 1, but this is a huge momentum shift because they stole a game at home. This automatically makes it that much easier for the game to go to six, or for this series to go to 6 or 7 games. It makes it that much easier because now all the Wolves got to do is protect the crib. If they protect home court, then now it's going to 6 or 7 games easily. So it's going to be tough, and it's a wake-up call for the Grizzlies. They're going to have to come back game 2 and understand, like, this is not the regular season anymore. This is not the regular season. All that fun stuff and pictures and grills and dancing, this is not the regular season anymore. So they're going to have to come with it come game 2 of the series. All right, man, and let's keep it going. Let's move on. We don't have any more news for you, so we're just gonna jump straight into it, actually, and we're gonna touch on it. We mentioned it earlier that the Los Angeles Lakers actually did fire Frank Vogel from the Lakers as head coach. He played 3 seasons and he won them a championship, but they put the blame on him and let them go. Now, to touch on this, because I never got a chance to on April 18th, I know it's a little bit late because this happened maybe about a week ago. And, news, when you don't catch it right then and there, it's considered late. But I never got a chance to touch on this, and I have to say something about it. But as far as this topic and them firing firing Frank Vogel, the Lakers, damn, y'all are going out sad. Y'all going out sad. I mean, please take some damn accountability. Please. Vogel didn't. He's not the one that put this whole team together. He's not the one that said, I'm the coach and I made that decision of bringing myself in as a coach. Like, he coached that team and he won them a championship. He did it what he was supposed to do. And I've never been a fan of Frank Vogel. I truthfully didn't want him to be head coach in the first place, just because I liked a couple other candidates. I think it was Jay Kidd and maybe Steve Nash as well. But I liked a couple other candidates at that time. So I'm not even a Frank Vogel fan, as you would call it. But ultimately, fire the person who let it lead up to this point. Vogel did not do that. He didn't put this team together. And the way the Lakers did this, putting the blame on him, using him as a scapegoat, that is not cool. That's not desirable for other coaches when they hear about the Lakers potentially needing a head coach. That's not cool. That's not classy for you to be that organization of the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the best franchises in the league, one of the best organizations in the league. That's not a genuine way to handle that. And it tells every other coach, like, okay, well, if things go bad and somebody has to take the blame, we'll put it on you. And then truthfully, like when he first got there, I think it was his second season, he won the Lakers a championship. He had a rough first season, but his second season, he won them a championship. And look, I don't care what I know it was in a bubble. So some people may say that's an excuse. But I get it was a bubble ring, whatever you want to call it. Ultimately, it's still a championship. And I hate that I'm even saying this, but when you look at the numbers in terms of what organizations have the most NBA championships, and mainly it comes down to the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. You're going to look at the Lakers and see they have more numbers. So it counts, and it doesn't matter. Not everyone gets to experience that with a group of guys. So they won a championship. That whether it was bubble or not, they ended up winning the championship. Some coaches never win a championship. It's coaches that's been coaching forever, their whole career, team to team, state to state, organization to organization, and never even came close to winning a championship at all. But it's just like, if you had faith in him then, one bad season where there's injuries, there's a lot of drama, personnel isn't the best, how can you just simply put all of that on him when you celebrated this man literally a couple months ago, and when you celebrated this man a year or two ago? Like, what made you pick him in the first place if you really didn't believe his ability to coach and make the situation better? Like, in that case, you should have picked Tyronn Lue. You should have picked Jason Kidd. You should have picked Manny Williams. Like, it was so many other things. And again, I've never been a fan of Frank Vogel because I mean, when you look at the record of his coaching, it's not the best. It's not the best at all. But ultimately, if you pick that guy to be there, at least give him a chance. At least give him a chance to make things better with the Lakers. And he's not the one to blame. He wasn't the one that put that team together. He wasn't the one that made things bad from the jump. He came off a championship. And the front office was the people that moved things around. Frank Vogel didn't do that. So the Lakers, they got some things to make. Now, potential candidates, I don't think any of these candidates are good for the Lakers. I mentioned earlier that Quinn Snyder from the Utah Jazz, Doc Rivers, Juwan Howard. Man, these guys, if they're going to pick any of these guys up, they should have just kept Frank Vogel. And some of these guys are coming from good situations and better situations than the Lakers. The Lakers are about to lose LeBron. They possibly might lose Anthony Davis as well. So it's just no telling. I don't think either of these guys will be good. I think they're going to have to go with somebody that's completely new. I know LeBron mentioned... I can't remember who LeBron mentioned, but he mentioned someone, the commentator. You'll put it together, but he mentioned Mark. Man, what is that guy's name? What is that guy's name? But anyway, that's besides the point. But Yeah, man, the Lakers, they are definitely cooked when it comes to it. I do appreciate you guys for tuning in with me today, man. It was a great episode. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram at The Run Podcast. Be sure to check out the YouTube channel as well at The Run Podcast. And we will be back with you later on this week and the following, and so on and so on. Now, don't be selfish. You might have a friend, family member, coworker who's on the run too. So make sure they get to have the same amount of fun as you and send them this episode. It's The Run with Manny Wilson Podcast. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life. Don't let